Yamaha's rolling into 2026 with not just an updated supersport and a brand new dual sport bike, but an entire lineup upgraded. Sharper, smarter, and real performance improvements that make this one of Yamaha's strongest years in a while. A lot of people thought Yamaha was just cruising on the same old lineup, but this year might change your mind. So the real question is simple. Did they actually deliver, or if this is just good marketing? Let's start with the all-new supersport. The YZF R9 is Yamaha's answer to everyone asking why they didn't have a proper middleweight supersport. They finally built one, and it's not just an MT-09 with fairings bolted on. This is a dedicated chassis with MotoGP-inspired aero, a full third-gen electronics suite, and real track capability that puts it directly against bikes like the Aprilia RS 660 and Triumph Daytona 660. The engine is the 890cc CP3 triple, making 117 horsepower, which is the same motor from the MT-09, but tuned specifically for supersport use. Yamaha revised the intake and exhaust to give it a sharper response on track and a more engaging sound when you're actually riding hard. The power delivery is tuned for strong mid-range punch rather than peaky top end, which makes it easier to drive out of corners without needing to live at redline like a traditional inline 4-600. That torque character matters because it means less downshifting on tight tracks and more forgiving power when you're not hitting perfect apexes. The chassis is all new. Dedicated aluminum frame designed around the supersport riding position, not adapted from the naked bike platform. The geometry is sharpened for quicker turn-in, and stiffer frame sections improve feedback when you're leaned over and on the gas. Yamaha added aerodynamic winglets that actually function instead of just being there for looks. They generate downforce to keep the front end planted on corner exit and improve stability at high speed without making the bike feel heavy or sluggish when you're threading through slow technical sections. Electronics are where Yamaha finally caught up. Multi-level traction control, slide control, wheelie control, engine brake management, and cornering ABS all running off a 6-axis IMU. The 5-inch TFT display integrates riding modes and smartphone connectivity, and you can pre-configure settings through the app before you even get to the track. There's also an up-down quick shifter and slipper clutch standard, which should be baseline on any bike calling itself a supersport in 2026. The intervention is smooth enough that you're not getting abrupt cuts mid-corner, but aggressive enough that it'll save you when things go sideways. Suspension is fully adjustable KYB front and rear, and braking is handled by Brembo radial calipers. Yamaha didn't cheap out on the hardware, which matters because middleweight supersports live or die on how well the components work together. The KYB suspension isn't Ellen's level, but it's more than adequate for fast street riding and intermediate track days. The Brembo brakes deliver strong initial bite without being grabby, which builds confidence when you're braking late into corners. The riding position is aggressive, but not punishing. Clip-ons are low enough to get your weight forward for serious cornering, but not so extreme that commuting or canyon rides become torture sessions. Seat height sits around 32 inches, making it accessible for a wide range of riders without feeling cramped for taller people. Yamaha's pitching this as a bike for intermediate to advanced riders who want track capability without the intimidation or running costs of a full leader-class superbike. The CP3 engine shares the proven reliability from the MT-09. With long service intervals and strong aftermarket support, real-world impressions are calling out the addictive mid-range torque, razor-sharp handling, and confidence-inspiring electronics that make it approachable for riders graduating from 300 to 700cc bikes. There's also a 70th anniversary edition, an iconic white-red speedblock livery with gold wheels and anniversary badges. It's a visual tie to Yamaha's historic GP race machines and adds collectible appeal without changing any of the mechanical bits. Pricing sits at $12,999, which undercuts the Aprilia and Triumph while still delivering serious hardware. The R9 is genuinely new, not a refresh or a badged existing model. Yamaha invested in building a proper middleweight supersport instead of just slapping fairings on the MT-09 and calling it done. Whether it's actually better than the competition depends on who's riding it and what they value, but at least Yamaha finally showed up to the fight. The real test will be how it performs on track against bikes that have been in this segment for years. Next is the 2026 performance upgrades. MT-07 got the biggest update in its history for 2026. And Yamaha finally gave it the hardware it always deserved. This isn't just new paint. It's a legitimate performance upgrade that brings the bike up to modern standards without ruining what made it popular in the first place. The 689cc CP2 parallel twin stays the same mechanically, but everything around it got upgraded. New inverted 41mm KYB forks replaced the old right-side-up units, improving front-end feel and feedback. Radial mount 4-piston brakes give stronger initial bite and better modulation. Lightweight spin-forged wheels reduce unsprung weight, making the bike flick through corners faster and absorb bumps better. Yamaha added ride-by-wire throttle and a switchable traction control system, which are features the MT-07 should have had years ago. The 5-inch TFT display replaces the old LCD setup, and it connects to your phone through Y-Connect for navigation and ride data. The styling got sharper with a new stripped-back MT family face, minimalist LED headlights, and a forward-leaning stance that looks more aggressive than the previous generation. The chassis and swing arm were refined for better rigidity balance, and the ergonomics got slight updates with revised tank shaping and an improved rider triangle. Seat height and overall feel stay familiar, so existing MT-07 riders won't feel like they're learning a completely different bike. Pricing sits at $8,599, which is the same as before, despite all the upgrades. That's unusual in 2026 when most manufacturers are raising prices just for new graphics. Yamaha kept the MT-07 affordable while making it genuinely better, which is exactly what this bike needed. The YZF-R7 got a similar treatment to the MT-07, but with supersport-specific updates that make it more track-capable than before. This is still the same 689cc CP2 twin underneath, but Yamaha sharpened everything around it to compete with bikes like the Aprilia RS 660 and Kawasaki Ninja 650. New aerodynamic bodywork includes winglet-style side fairings that generate actual downforce instead of just looking cool. The winglets help keep the front end planted when you're hard on the gas coming out of corners, and they improve stability at higher speeds without making the bike feel heavy or difficult to steer through tight sections. The front end gets inverted KYB forks and radial mount brakes, matching the MT-07's upgrades, but tuned for the more aggressive supersport riding position. Spin-forged wheels reduce unsprung weight, which you feel most when changing direction quickly or hitting bumps mid-corner. The chassis and swing arm were refined for better feedback, and the tank and side fairings were reshaped for improved knee grip and airflow management. Electronics include ride-by-wire, updated rider aids, and a 5-inch TFT display with smartphone connectivity. The 3rd-gen quick shift system handles clutchless up and down shifts smoother than the previous version, and the slipper clutch prevents rear-wheel chatter under aggressive downshifting. Brembo Radial Master Cylinder improves brake feel and precision. Yamaha also offers a 70th anniversary edition with classic white-red speed block graphics, gold accents, and anniversary badging. Pricing is $9,799, which keeps it competitive against other middleweight supersports, while delivering hardware that used to only show up on more expensive bikes. The R7 now feels like a proper supersport instead of a budget option with compromises. Next, we have the MT Series Hyper Nakeds. The MT-03 hasn't changed for 2026. And honestly, it doesn't need to. It's a 321cc parallel twin naked bike that new riders can actually handle without getting scared. But it doesn't look or feel like a learner bike. Yamaha gave it inverted KYB forks years ago, which most manufacturers don't bother with on entry-level machines. And the styling looks aggressive enough that you won't feel embarrassed parking it next to bigger bikes. New colors and graphics for this year, nothing mechanical. Still $4,999. People keep asking when Yamaha will add traction control or ride-by-wire to compete with the KTM Duke 390, but maybe leaving it simple is the smarter move. It's light, the power builds predictably, and experienced riders don't mind hooning around on it in the city because it's just fun without trying too hard. Yamaha didn't touch the MT-09 mechanically either, just new paint options. The 890cc CP3 Triple is the same motor that makes people grin every time they crack the throttle because the mid-range torque hits like a brick. Everything from the 2024 to 2025 updates carried over 5-inch TFT display, smartphone integration through Y-Connect, ride-by-wire throttle. The styling is still that compact LED headlight with minimal bodywork that defines the modern MT look. Base model runs $10,899. If you want the SP version at $12,699, you get the up-down quick shifter, cruise control, and a Brembo master cylinder depending on what region you're in. The SP also comes in this exclusive liquid metal / raven paint with R1M inspired accents that honestly looks better than the standard colors. If you bought an MT and 9 in the last 2 years, there's no point upgrading. But if you've been thinking about one and never pulled the trigger, this is still one of the best ways to spend 11 grand on a motorcycle that'll make you laugh every time you ride it. The CP3 engine runs forever with basic maintenance, and the whole bike just feels engaging in a way most middleweights don't. The MT10 and MT10 SP got the same treatment. New colors, same everything else. That 998cc crossplane 4-cylinder comes from the R1. And it sounds absolutely evil with that irregular firing order. The exhaust note alone is worth half the price of admission. Bridgestone S23 tires are still standard. Electronics package hasn't changed. Base MT10 starts at $14,999 and comes in Ice Storm, Team Yamaha Blue, or Matte Raven Black. The SP model jumps to $17,499 for Öhlins electronically controlled suspension, which actually makes a difference if you ride hard enough to notice it adjusting on the fly. The MT10 is a superbike motor in a naked bike chassis, and it's built for people who want to terrify themselves on back roads without needing a full track setup. The upright position gets uncomfortable on long highway slogs though, and that motor throws heat and stop and go traffic that'll cook your legs in summer. If you're not planning to ride this thing aggressively most of the time, the MT09 makes way more sense and costs 3 grand less. Now here's the bike nobody expected Yamaha to bring back. Something that's been missing from their lineup for years, a small displacement dual sport. But here we are with the WR125R. It's an all-new lightweight enduro bike aimed at new riders, commuters, and budget-conscious explorers who want something that works on pavement and dirt without requiring serious off-road skills or a fat wallet. The engine is a 125cc liquid-cooled single with variable valve actuation, which is unusual tech for a bike this small. VVA gives it broader, more usable torque across the rev range and efficient high RPM performance without sacrificing low-end pull. Yamaha is claiming punchy performance for a 125, and real-world impressions back that up. It's not fast, but it's engaging enough to be fun instead of just transportation. Fuel injection keeps the throttle response smooth, and fuel economy sits around nearly 200 miles per tank, making it practical for long commutes or exploration rides on a budget. The chassis is built for real trail capability, not just fire roads. 21 18-inch wheels with proper dirt geometry, long travel KYB suspension that handles rough terrain without bottoming out, and a lightweight frame that makes it easy to pick up when you inevitably drop it learning off-road skills. The seat is slim and flattened true enduro style, and MX-style foot pegs give you solid purchase when you're standing through technical sections. Single-channel ABS on the front wheel only, which makes sense for a bike that's supposed to spend time in the dirt where rear ABS would just get in the way. Yamaha added Y-Connect smartphone integration, which seems like overkill for a 125, but actually provides useful maintenance logs, ride data, and notifications. The multifunction LCD dash gives you the basics without being fancy. LED lighting system keeps weight down while improving visibility. The whole package weighs very little, making it approachable for smaller riders or people who've never ridden off-road before. Pricing sits at $3,999, which undercuts most competition in the small dual sport category. That's cheap enough that it works as a first bike, a budget commuter, or a second bike for weekend trail riding without feeling like a major financial commitment. Available in Team Yamaha Blue or Black with enduro-inspired styling that includes slim bodywork, rugged fenders, and a compact dual-lens LED headlight. The WR125R fills a gap Yamaha left open for years. It's not trying to compete with full-size enduros or serious off-road machines. It's built for people who want an easy entry into dual sport riding without the weight, cost, or intimidation of bigger bikes. The WR125R is a smart buy for new riders, but not every beginner bike is. Some look good on paper, but turn into expensive mistakes once you actually own them. We just made a video about this and covered 12 motorcycles you should avoid at all costs in 2026. If you're shopping for anything this year, it's worth checking that out before you commit to something you'll regret. We do appreciate tapping that subscribe button if you found the video helpful. Speaking of bikes worth the money, Yamaha's Flagship Supersports didn't get major updates this year, but that doesn't make them bad buys. The R1 and R1M didn't get touched mechanically for 2026. New colors showed up, and Yamaha added 70th anniversary liveries with that historic white-red speed block design and gold wheels if you want the collectible look. But the 998cc Crossplane Inline 4, same 200 horsepower. The 6-axis IMU managing all the rider aids, unchanged. The Delta Box aluminum frame that's been holding this bike together at stupid speeds for years, still doing its job. Base R1 costs $18,599, and you can get it in Team Yamaha Blue or Raven. The R1M jumps all the way to $27,299. And for that extra $9,000, you get Erlen's electronic suspension that actually adjusts itself in real time while you're braking into corners or getting on the gas coming out. You also get carbon fiber bodywork with that exposed weave finish and data logging systems designed for people who spend more time analyzing telemetry than actually riding. The R1 hasn't needed major updates because it already does what a flagship superbike is supposed to do. The Crossplane motor has been running in racing and high-mileage street bikes for years without blowing up, as long as people actually change the oil and don't treat maintenance intervals like suggestions. The electronics go deep enough that most people riding this thing on the street will never touch half the menu options. The chassis stays planted when you're leaned over hard and carrying serious speed, which is what matters when you're actually trying to go fast instead of just looking fast. Yeah, the riding position is aggressive, and your wrists will hurt after an hour. It runs hot when you're stuck in traffic. And yeah, commuting on this thing is miserable, but complaining about that is like buying a race car and then getting mad it doesn't have heated seats. If you're good enough to ride an R1 at the limit, you already know if you want one. If you're not, stop pretending and buy something that makes sense for how you actually ride. The R3 is still here doing what it's always done. New colors for 2026. Including that 70th anniversary speed block livery if you want it. Same 321cc parallel twin that makes just enough power to teach beginners how motorcycles work without scaring them into giving up after the first ride. $5,499 gets you inverted forks, ABS, a lightweight frame, and R-Series styling that makes it look like its bigger siblings without the insurance premiums or the fear factor. This is still the smartest entry-level supersport you can buy if you actually want to learn how to ride fast. The engine will run forever. Parts don't cost a fortune, and it's forgiving enough that new riders won't panic on their first track day, while still teaching them proper body position, braking points, and how to carry corner speed instead of just pinning it on straights. Now let's see what they got for adventure and sport touring. First is the Tenere 700 carried over from last year with minor graphic changes. The 689cc CP2 twin still makes strong, tractable torque that works everywhere, from highway passing to slow technical trails. Yamaha kept it intentionally simple. No ride modes, no traction control, no IMU. Just a bike with long travel suspension, proper 21 18-inch wheels, dual mode ABS you can switch between road and off-road, and rally-inspired ergonomics that make standing on the pegs comfortable when you're riding dirt. The 6.3-inch TFT display from the 2024 to 2025 update stayed, along with smartphone connectivity through the MyRide app and a USB-C port. $11,499. People who ride Teneres talk about how they just work. The CP2 engine runs cool even when you're grinding through sand or rocky trails in summer heat. The frame flexes predictably instead of being overly stiff, and the slim tank area makes it easy to move your body around when you're standing through technical sections. It's not trying to compete with the big adventure bikes loaded with electronics. Yamaha positioned this as a middleweight that prioritizes simplicity and actual off-road capability over gadgets. The Tracer 9 and Tracer 9 GT Plus are both carryovers with updated colors. Same 890cc CP3 triple making 117 horsepower with strong mid-range. Base Tracer 9 starts at $12,599 and comes with adjustable KYB suspension, a 7-inch TFT display, cruise control, and lean-sensitive rider aids. It's lighter and more agile than most sport tourers in this class, which makes it fun on twisty roads, but still comfortable enough for weekend trips. Y-Connect smartphone pairing and USB-C charging carried over from previous updates. The GT Plus jumps to $16,999 and adds KYB semi-active suspension that adjusts damping in real time. radar-linked adaptive cruise control that keeps distance from traffic ahead, unified braking, quick shifter, and heated grips. The semi-active suspension is what separates this from the base model. It constantly tweaks itself based on road conditions and riding inputs, which sounds gimmicky until you spend a full day riding varied roads and realize how much less fatiguing it is compared to fixed suspension setups. Yamaha kept both tracers positioned as affordable alternatives to more expensive European sport tourers while delivering similar capability for thousands less. Now we have Sport Heritage Series. The XSR 900 and XSR 700 are both carryovers with new color options. Same retro styling, same modern guts underneath. Yamaha's been refining these bikes for years by keeping the neo-retro look people like while upgrading the mechanical bits to stay competitive. The XSR 900 runs that 890cc CP3 triple making 117 horsepower, which is the same motor from the MT-09 and R9 but wrapped in heritage bodywork. You get the full electronics package, traction control, slide control, wheelie control, cornering ABS, ride-by-wire, quick shifter, and cruise control. Spin-forged wheels keep unsprung weight low. For 2026, Yamaha added Heritage White as a color option and equipped the bike with Bridgestone Batlax Hypersport S23 tires. 3rd Gen Quick Shift system and Y-Connect smartphone integration carried over. $10,599. Available in Raven or Heritage White. The appeal is that addictive CP3 mid-range torque, combined with comfortable upright ergonomics and styling that doesn't look like every other naked bike on the road. The round LED headlight, brushed aluminum accents, sculpted tank, and minimalistic tail section give it a clean heritage look without going full vintage. The chassis uses Yamaha's modern aluminum frame with refined geometry that keeps it planted in corners, while the wide handlebars give you confident leverage through tight sections. People who ride XSR 900s talk about how easy it is to switch between casual cruising and serious backroad pace without the bike feeling out of its element either way. The XSR 700 uses the 689cc CP2 twin with crossplane concept crank, lightweight diamond frame, neutral ergonomics, Michelin Road 5 tires, $8,599 in Raven. The removable subframe makes customization easier if you want to build a cafe racer, scrambler, or tracker without major fabrication work. It's lighter and simpler than the XSR 900, which appeals to people who want retro style with approachable power and low running costs. The CP2 engine handles high mileage without issues as long as you keep up with oil changes and basic maintenance. Lastly, Yamaha scooters. The X-Max is a premium maxi scooter running a 292cc liquid-cooled single, making around 28 horsepower. It's built for commuters who want highway capability, wind protection, and enough storage to actually use it for errands instead of just riding for fun. Electronically adjustable windscreen, dual TFT, LCD dashboard setup, Y-Connect smartphone integration with Garmin navigation support, keyless ignition, traction control, and dual-channel ABS. Underseat storage fits 2 full-face helmets plus gear. $6,399. The X-Max competes with bikes like the Honda Forza and Suzuki Bergman by offering similar features for less money while still feeling premium instead of budget. The Zuma 125 is the opposite end. Compact 125cc single with variable valve actuation making around 12 to 15 horsepower in a rugged tubular steel frame with knobby-style tires. Built for urban riders who need something nimble in traffic that can handle rough city streets, potholes, and light gravel without falling apart. Fuel economy sits around 80 to 90 miles per gallon in real-world use, $3,799. It's simple, durable, and cheap to run, which is exactly what this category needs. Yamaha's 2026 strategy is pretty clear. They put serious effort into the R9 as a brand new middleweight supersport, upgraded the MT, 07, and R7 with hardware those bikes should have had from the start, and let everything else coast with fresh paint. The WR125R showing up as an all-new dual sport was a surprise, but it's a niche bike targeting budget riders and beginners rather than a mainstream edition. What's interesting is where Yamaha chose to invest. The R9 directly competes with Aprilia and Triumph in a segment Yamaha hasn't played in seriously before. The MT-07 and R7 upgrades bring both bikes up to modern standards without raising prices, which is unusual when most manufacturers use updates as an excuse to charge more. Those three bikes represent actual investment and improvement, rather than just marketing refresh cycles. If you're cross-shopping any of these bikes or wondering how Yamaha stacks up against the competition, let us know which models you're considering. We'll be covering individual reviews as they become available, and there's a lot more coming on the 2026 lineup from every manufacturer. See you in the next video.